About rules, fundamental rules of knife defense. This has got to get tricky. Okay? So he puts his knife out. He's going to have his knife out. Now, when a person is, there's all different ways people are going to come at you with the knife. We're going to take holding position from here. First rule is on any type of movement, is to understand where this knife is coming from. The thing is that if you focus, you have to know where the knife is at all times, but this is the threat. This is the threat. Stop this, you stop the weapon. But you have to be aware where the weapon is at all times. All right? And how it's thrusting at you. So, if there's two ways, so if somebody's holding a knife, very, very rarely a person's going to come to you and say, give me your money, as if you're holding a knife this way. When they come up to you, they're going to be saying, give me your money, they're holding the knife this way, they're holding the knife this way, they're going to come behind you this way, stuff like that there. If a person takes a knife out this way, they usually have intent to use it. Right? All right? So the different types of knife attacks are a person's coming out and is thrusting the knife, right? Or they're going to come out, it's usually like when a person has a knife, it could be rage, and they're coming at you with rage with the weapon. All right? There's three different attacks that you get involved with. The guy who thinks he's James Dean, and he's going like this, and if anybody remembers who James Dean is, right? He's going like this, and he's switching the knife. You know, that's the easiest guy to fight, right? The guy who is coming at you with rage, he's just coming at you with the knife. That's a very difficult thing to deal with, right? And the other is somebody who's coming at a knife with cross directions and coming at you this way. Is more experienced knife fighter, right? The hardest part about weapons is not when, if I come at him with the weapon and I come this way, he's going to defend against this. He blocks it. It's the pullback, you see? So when I came here and I pulled it back, boom, I came in again. Once you allow them to pull back, you're in trouble. All right? The hardest type of attack is when somebody's coming this way and I'm coming at him again, and I'm going, boom. You see the pullback? That pullback is the danger zone. All right? We're going to get you there. We're going to get you on that pullback. But most likely, pullbacks are usually acts of passion. You know, where people are just really angry and mad at you and are coming at you. I've seen a guy with the pullback, this motion here, stab another guy like 18 times. He died. You know, stabbed him in the front, chest. You'll see people when they're trying to defend themselves, their arms have a lot of cuts on them. In combat, one of the main rules when somebody holds a knife out at you is not to think that you're going to not be unscathed. Cuts are okay. Some punctures, little punctures are okay. But you know, anything that slices or stabs, that's the danger zones. So if you get into a fight, your hands are got to be cut or anything of that nature, that's okay. You know, and also having some idea where the knife is actually going in onto you. If the knife does penetrate and go in deep, it is important for you guys to try not to let that knife come out. You know, to keep it there and to try to take out that assailant. This is all terrible stuff. There's no nice way to talk about it, right? So we're going to deal with some simple looking, right? Which is the same thing. This is got to know, and also in your movement is going to become important. First thing, right? If he has this knife out, he takes a position. My position of attack, my elbows are here. This is my trigger point. My elbows are, I don't reach, I don't come to the knife this way here to reach across. I'm here. So you have to have an invisible wall that your elbows and your knees are going to work from. My knees work the same way. If I'm going to be kicking this weapon at this range, I'm not going to be kicking this way here, because then the knife can penetrate in here. I have to kick from here. So my knee is here, and then I move. I don't bring any of these parts of my body into the weapon. So if say he lunges with his first lunge, I come back, say I come back, which is not something I'd like to do. My hands are here. If he comes with his next lunge, I want to stay back, because you can see where this is going to be coming from. So my hands may get cut, right? My legs may be cut, but nothing vulnerable. So I say, you can't get into a fight thinking you're not going to get cut. If he comes up at me, you can't go, woo, like Michael Jackson and get the hell out of the way. Because it just gives him room to keep coming back at you. All right? So you want to make sure that your elbows and your knees have these trigger points. Right? So if he takes a position, he comes out with a knife, I move this way here, as he comes in, right, boom, this is where I'm going to come up, just as he was crossing. So even if it came across, I'm still here. Even if the action, if I missed his elbow, right, and he still came across, I'm still at that point that the only thing that may get injured is across my arms or my legs, nothing to the midsection. So whenever you're doing any type of attack, you have to remember your trigger points. These have eyes, and these have eyes. Right? Most of the attacks that you guys are going to have to deal with are going to be ones with knives. Knives are much more dangerous than guns, right? Because a gun only has one direction. A knife has many different directions, and can come at you many different times. So you definitely want to deal with understanding your range, and sometimes it's close. You got to do. So if he's this close with me, he's got the knife out, and he's this close, then my range has to be here and moving with it, not here. Not stepping into the weapon. Okay? So your barriers are here. So say if he's coming and he comes with a thrust here, this is where, boom, this is where my leg comes. It comes from here, or it moves here, or my hand moves here. Right? And you've got to be careful of this, because if he switches that, you just shish kebab your own hand. Right? So you may see that motion, and I may want to come to this side. Also, you slip. You miss. Or he comes, as he's coming, he aims it down, he screws up, or the knife, depending on the person that's using the weapon. There's all these variables that could come into play. So it's an important rule to make sure you have a barrier, that your limbs stay behind, and that you're moving out to it. The other rule is that don't think you're not going to get cut, stabbed, sliced, or whatever, shot. Maybe he's got a gun and a knife. You do have those, by the way. But you can't say, oh, there's a knife, and be like twinkle toes around it. You've got to be direct to your attacks and what you're going to be doing. So how we're going to study this first, then it's going to get complicated. It's going to be two different variables. So first you're going to stand here, he's going to stand here, and then he's going to come at you with a lunge position. Remember the lunge position. All right, so this is his lunge position. All right? At that point here, where would your attack be from? Okay? That's the first level. So from here, I may want to come this way here with the motion. I may want to move my body, come this way here with the motion, come around to it. I may want to come in this way. So you see different ideas of that. He takes an overhead motion, right? As he comes overhead, boom, I come into here, I'm going to stop it here. Now here's the pullback idea. He pulls back to come again. You have to come in, and you have to execute where's your strike zones. So not only you figure if there's a guy that's very hyper and very high-strung, maybe doing cocaine, or his adrenaline is going real heavy, right? Or if he's extremely large, that pullback motion is important. Remember what I told you. The knife is just a tool. This is what has to be stopped. You got a 250-pound guy coming at you with a knife, and then say you block the knife, then you have to hit that 250-pound guy who's angry and pissed off and has rage and passion and wants to hurt you. You understand? So you can't, if he comes up high and he goes like this and you go, this is not, he pulls back and he's coming at you again. You see what I mean? So stepping into that, you have to have your strike zones. This is where your chops come in, where your hand technique's got to come in. So I'm going to stand here. He takes a position anyone he wants. From here I want to see how my attack's going to be. This is how you first got to work. So you may want to try something really cool, or abstract, so I can see the knife coming. I'm going to come this way. So my attack is here. Why did I do that? One is to come this way here. The other was to guard this and come with the chop into the inside and mask the knife. Because now he could come around, he could come over this way. So as I step in, boom, I'm going to step in here, and then boom, I'm going to chop. Then I'm going to break, right? What's going to happen is we're going to upbeat this thing. It's going to get more and more complicated. This will be the first range. This is what you do. Each person does 3 times. So now he comes at me a different way, any way he wants. He comes at me this way. So here's a nice simple attack with a drawback, a nice simple clear attack. My motion here may want to come in this way, right? Or I'm going to come in because I want to mask that elbow. Now I have strike zones. And a lot of you guys are going to do this. You're going to do this. I'm looking at a bigger person here. This hand's got to switch. But now he could come this way, right? He could come down. So my motion from here is going to move in here, move, right? as I'm moving here, to then slide down and grab the knife, and he's still struggling with that knife. Move. And you can start to do some different breaks or motion, or if it comes out again, up on the same one, up again, right? If it comes in here, you can't go, you know what I'm saying? This isn't going to be good. The strike zone, I said, boom! You see when I came to the head? Now I got this here, so I hit across the eyes. I got to stop him. At this point, I may feel a little uncomfortable. I may just push him away a little bit because I can see that drawback and then come at him, depending on how effective your shot is. If that shot didn't seem effective, like he's still coming, and I'm going to push him away, make a turn, I know he's a little dazed, and then come at him. And maybe get cut in the process of doing that. There may be a cut, that's cool. Because then you can show everybody your battle score. Ah, man, look at this cut I got. You know, it's not cool if you wake up or don't wake up in the hospital, right? You know, then it's not cool, right? So we're going to deal with some basic strike zones, right? So now he comes at me a different way. All right, so he's coming out here, so my strike zone is going to be coming from this point here, and I'm going to come right into the throat, move, hit all this center line. So I'm going to come in, when he's coming in, hit, and then work with the weapon. Then it's going to get tougher. Well, the only reason we're doing this right now is just so that you get a mental picture of different things you're doing and where you're hitting. Like with that back hit, when I went back, I wasn't real confident with that hit to the head that was going to be enough to stop him. So I knew that he was probably going to come down, felt that, pushed him away from me, and then let him come down to turn around, and then maybe as he was standing in that position, kick him behind in the groin, or as he turned around, hit him, and then I would have a better striking area. The important thing for you guys not to forget is your strikes, where you're striking from. Now the one battle that Mr. LeGrant was in, and I love telling this story, was there was a guy behind him, because of his awareness techniques, there was another guy here, and he passed him. The guy behind him, the guy in front of him was to distract. The guy just lunged for his kidney. As he lunged for his kidney, all LeGrant did was this. That's all he did. He just reacted to it because of his training. He went, boom! And he hit the guy, bam! Right in the face, and he fell down so fast he couldn't kick. He went to kick him too, but he just dropped him. He dropped so fast. A big guy, I'm talking like a 6'2" guy. And the other guy that was in front was even bigger. So James then took that kick to come at the guy on the other side, but he was already running down the street. And the other guy broke his tooth, broke his jaw, and he just dropped like a boom. It was just reaction time. And that's kind of how it has to be. He didn't have time to think. The scary part, we're going to add this last part of it, is when you have time to think and you don't react. So if I have a weapon, Paul, and I'm standing here, and now I'm pulling this out, and I'm coming at you this way here, now it gets a little bit, you know, like, you have time to think, and you're thinking like, oh, these are where the rules have to come in. You don't want, if I'm tracking him, this is the next phase we're going to, if I'm tracking him, keeping your range, keeping your elbows and your knees here, not letting me pass that range. That's the next phase we're going to do. When you have time to think, that's when it gets like, all these possibilities come in. When you just react, it's different. Right? Where James had, you saw it and took it, which is what you guys have to do when we get into that situation. Right? All right, so you got the rule, right? He stands here, he takes a position. Now if I want to retreat from that position, if I want to come to one side or the other, this is a nice easy part. I'm going to just fade back and kick right to his center. I'm not even going to worry about blocking this. Right? So I'm going to fade back, and as he starts coming in with the weapon, boom, that's where I'm going to come in as this is coming in, being aware where it's coming from. It can be that simple. You don't do the same move again. You don't have to go into the weapon. This is a hard thing to come into where he's at here. You know, hard defense. So I may want to take, if I see this, I may want to come right to here. I'll go right to the center line and give him something to think about, then deal with the weapon. So it's also making the right decisions for the different plays. So let's work with that a little bit. We work in teams. Each person goes 3 times. So if I'm going to come at him, I'm standing here. And you know, and you're also allowed to retreat. Right? If I come at him, I go whoop, this way here. Like his retreat just put him in trouble. Right? Because if I'm coming, you can see he's in trouble. I'm just going whoosh, I'm coming through. This is bam, bam. This is what's going to happen. Doom, doom, doom. That's what they're coming at you with, right? So you have, it's scary, right? You don't have a lot of time. You know, I've been in fights on the street, so I know what that looks like. Okay? So You freeze the position. If I take this position here, boom, now he sees where his attack's going to come from, where he's going to hit, how confident he feels about what he's doing. Right? Okay? It's hard. And we're going to get into movement. One key thing I also want to put in when I was watching you guys fight. Yin and yang foot, guys. Right? Not up on your toes, not any of this stuff. You tracking your opponent. If he's standing here and he comes in with my knife, I don't want to, I'm going to be moving one solid, one empty. So these become crucial in your work, in your range. So it goes back over with the same attack, right? Here, I'm moving here. So if you see this motion, slowly, I went 1, 2, right? One follows the other. I didn't go this way. Go ahead. Right? I didn't go on my toes. That's not going to work. You have to keep mindful. You've got to trust the technique. You have to start trusting what you're learning. Right? Especially if your assailant has already hit you, he's larger than you, and it has a weapon. So you have to use your stance work. You have to be able to track. If he comes in fast, all this is moving. And then he comes in again, I'm moving with it. If I'm going to retreat, I'm moving on my stance work. So I'm keeping him at bay. He moves in again. Whoosh, there he is. He's gone. So I'm looking. You've got to trust this. You can't jump. You can't do like the Michael Jackson woo, motions, any of that stuff. You know, you've got to. Well, that was okay. But, you know, let me give me an award or something in the Academy for the Michael Jackson movie. But the whole point of motion and movement, guys, is you've got to trust these. Watch. So if he comes at me, I'm watching. This all moves. This all went here. And then I can come back in on my attacks. Not this little high movement, not jumping. One follows. So you're always moving this way, especially if against a weapon. Right? Now we're going to give you some movement here. If the fight is in an elevator or on a staircase or in your car, you know, everything that has to become your root, your opponent, your visual, all comes into play. So what we're trying to teach on this course, what we're doing right now, is your visual cortex. You know, get that operating, use it, and get your body moving properly. And where you're striking from. Where's your strikes? So he comes in with his attack. Where's my strike? Right here. Boom! Right here's my boom! Right, boom, is my strike. This is what I'm going to be dealing with. Then when I get this weapon, I'm going to just move it around, tear, I'm going to just start to do things, right? Once you have the person, they become what you want them to become. Okay? 3 attacks. You can repeat the attack and do the same attack again if you don't like what you did. You know, like, oh, you're having a problem with it. Right? And then the other guy goes 3 times. Okay? So 3, either 3 different attacks, if you like what you did, or if you want to stay with consistently the 3 same attacks, and you work with it. You guys got the idea? And then we're going to get into some stance work with it. We'll upgrade it a little bit, which is fun. And the one schools I used to deal with, we used to deal with magic markers. So you had to wear shirts, you know, that you didn't mind getting wrecked. You know, I don't know if they have magic markers that, you know, you could clean. Yeah, but these didn't clean. There were those big smelly things. You know, the smelly.
The big one.
The big one. It was the big and smelly. Some guys took red because red was cool, you know. And we used to sit there, and then the guys would, and you would see where you got cut, and you could see where the dots were, where you actually got stabbed. So, you know, we may get into that, but you guys have to wear clothes that you don't mind losing. Everybody was in tank tops and sweats. You know, so like you wore tank tops and sweats because you just didn't care about them, and your arms were all, you know, looked like you were like some Indian on a warpath with all the, and everybody was marked. Everybody, dots in the face and stuff here. You really get to see like, oh, that didn't work, did it? So we may change to that. You know, it's kind of fun. All right, guys, try it.